It's so funny. I've actually all of a sudden was like, you know what? I haven't done a live IG with someone else in forever. So I'm so glad that I figured it out. But I was asking you to be the moderator. I was going to do all these things. All right. So here we are. How are you?
Here we are. I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
I
I'm
am
so happy
good.
to be on a live with you. And I decided to sit outside, and it all of a sudden got really windy, but it's fantastic.
It's beautiful out. It's beautiful out. Well, so I want you to kind of share because we were deciding whether we were going to go, which IG live we were going to do. This is really you guys having me on you, even though we're doing it on I Am Juliet Hahn. It's you guys having me on. And so I know you had, we wanted to really talk about what you guys are doing, but I know you had, things that you wanted to ask me as well.
Yes, absolutely. I've loved connecting with you and talking to you. It's been so organic and it's just grown. And I love your enthusiasm. I love what you've done with your career as well. And there are so many things we've always talked about me. So I thought, let me come on to, well, the reason, honestly, to be on your IG Live for us as the Power of Words brand, we're young and new. So we want people to come on and follow us as well and
Yes.
learn about what we're doing. But I would love for my audience, and I see some people that I know on here that are amazing. Hi, everybody, and welcome to uh, Juliet and the Power of Words. And, Juliet's been doing these great podcasts on Fireside. And I organically bumped into Juliet when we did the NFL fashion show. And it's just gone from one thing to another. It's about how relationships just grow and, people connect. And if there's a great energy and a great vibe, it goes from one thing to another. But just
Yeah.
from everything you've done, I am so impressed. You went from having a career and then having kids, and now you've pivoted to helping people, which is fantastic, and connecting people through your network. Do you want to tell us about that pivot before we start talking about Power of Words again?
Yeah, no, I would love it. And never again. I love what you're doing. And I think what you said is so true. It's really about the networking and synergies that happen. And anyone that has listened to my podcast, Your Next Stop, or any of my lives, they know that I truly believe we all have a path, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in both, we all have a path, but not all of us find it at the same time. And sometimes what people do is they feel like if they're not in, like if they're feeling a little unsettled and stuck, they're like, okay, I haven't found my path. And that usually is true. But one of the things that I'm a huge advocate is that we all have paths at different times in our lives. So, when I was in advertising, when I went to college, when I was younger, my story really is my path. My story is my path. And all of those little things in my story that have led me to where I am today have just really given me the legs, the confidence, the strength, the knowledge of to where I am now. So I always say to people, just because you might not be in the right path that you're meant to do, that God really has the overall, those little stepping stones are actually giving you so much knowledge and so much just experience that it's really important not to just say, oh, I don't love this. Really be in the moment that you're in and take what you can from that moment. And then if it's not the moment, if it's not the path where you're supposed to do, things will start opening up. Things will start opening up. You'll feel that, okay, this is the path. And that's exactly what happened with you and I, which is really, really cool. We met at the NFL fashion show, and anyone that hasn't heard, Deb's story is live. You can get it on Fireside. You can also get it on my RSS feed, which is, if you just go to Apple or Spotify, any of those. But you're going to be on also Your Next Stop, really sharing your whole story, like where you were, how you grew up, and all of that. So stay tuned for that. That's actually going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. But so really my pivot throughout my whole life, my whole career has really led to me where I am now. And the one thing I always say to people, they'll say, well, how do I know? Like, how do I know that I'm in that spot? And a lot of times you don't always really know, but it's almost this feeling of flow. Like things just work. Like you run into walls, you run into things in here, but if you keep putting those, the thoughts that you have, the dreams that you have into action, they really are going to turn into something if that is your meant, your path. So I love that we were able to connect, at the NFL fashion show. I love that because I had a network already that I've been forming and building, which, it's funny when you look back, you don't realize sometimes all the things that you have built, all of the relationships that you have done. And, that's one of the things that God definitely gave me was relationship building, was, networking and connecting with people, because I'm just a curious person. So I love learning about people and just asking questions. And then usually when that happens, and now, with the podcast, that's really what's kind of just taken my whole career and just like, really amplified it, because the podcast was just really a passion project. I just wanted to start something where I can share stories and uplift other people. And then when the pandemic happened and I kind of did a little pivot from personal journal stories into interviewing people around the world, what their quarantine looked like, I called it Quarantine Stories. That's when I realized, oh, wow. Okay, I love this conversation. I'm really good at actually helping people connect the dots. I didn't realize how good I was in this spot. So long story short, that's really how I started the podcast. That's really how I started my whole networking company. I've done keynotes. I'm actually going to be at PodFest talking in Orlando, keynote speaking for them, talking about the power of social audio for podcasts, which is, a whole new thing. And again, I just kind of landed in a spot, and I'm fearless. I don't really get nervous. And that's, anyone that knows me knows, because of my backstory, because of my dyslexia, because I really, struggled in school as a kid. But all of those things just kind of led to me to be like, oh, okay. When people say no, or, I feel like, I feel uncomfortable. I've been in that spot so many times. And really, when you're uncomfortable is when you actually are growing. And that's what people don't always think about. They don't think about it's those uncomfortable times that really catapult them to the next thing, because you're taking risks, you're going out there, you're doing things that are scary. But and you can talk what you're doing now.
What you said is so important. I think opportunity knocks all the time, and we
Yes.
don't know what to say yes to and what to say no to, and don't take things for granted. Look at every door that opens to you, and then make a decision, walk in there, and then make a decision whether you want to go forward or step back. And I think that's so important, because sometimes we have so many things going on, and some things look so, when we're chasing the wrong thing some of the times, and it's the little things that can grow into an enormous idea, or an enormous success. But we just take things for granted, and everything that looks bright and rosy seems like the best direction to go. So
Right. And it doesn't always is, right?
it doesn't always. Yes. And the power of words, for example, everything you say is powerful. What we want to put out there is, the power of words is about being. Did you lose me?
I lost you for a second, but we got you back.
Yeah. Okay. The power of words is really about thinking positive, reflecting how you feel. And, that's what the brand is trying to do. We're trying to impact people, impact how people feel, and reflect how you feel on the outside. And, that's really where we're going with this. We give back to mental health, which is an additional, little something to it. And it's not only a t-shirt or only a sweatshirt. It's an entire collection dedicated to the cause of mental health that is so badly needed right now. I think everything that we can push in that direction is is important, and they're important conversations to have. And that's what we're trying to do as well, through your career, which is the conversation I want to have on the power of words. Is you've been through those struggles, or you've seen people go through those struggles. We all have our low moments. So you go from, the bright ideas that you have, and then they don't work, and then you start to sink down, and sometimes you go into this dark hole. What helps you come out of it is what this is about, and the conversations are about.
And it's so true. And I love that you said that, because being an entrepreneur, and you know this also, firsthand. You have a successful business also, Power Words is kind of a love child that you've created out of it, because of those opportunities, those people that have met you, right, that you've done. But I think a lot of times people always see, and especially, people will say social media only shows the good side. That's not true, because I feel like a lot of people do show a lot, but it is like when you're in a moment where it's like, okay, am I in the right path? I know for myself, when I have those moments where it literally can be one day that I'm like, yeah, oh my God. I run downstairs, I tell my family, and then the next day I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? This is so exhausting. Or, okay, am I in the right path? And that's really where I then go to my spiritual side. And that's really when I pray and I say, God, okay, if I am not in the right path, show me the path that you're meant to me to be on. Like, show me that. And, there's going to be people out there that are like, well, I don't believe in God. And, we all have our own beliefs, and I respect everyone's beliefs. If you don't do that, then talk to the universe, talk to someone, put it out there, because
Yes.
it really is being heard and listened to. And as crazy as that sounds, as Big Brother, because it's not Big Brother. It's really just the universe, God has a plan. And once you kind of just put it out there and keep putting it out there, you all of a sudden will realize your mind shifts. Like, if you're thinking negative all the time, you're going to be surrounded by negativity. You're going to see the negative things. But if you really are out there always looking for something positive, that day is going to, your mind's going to change. Your day is going to change a little bit. And I think that's so important. And that's, again, the power of words, right? That's the power of words. That's the power of you as an individual. How can you change your day around? And, having 3 teens, when they get up for school, I don't know sometimes who's joining the table. And I'm like, okay. And what I will say to them, and half of the time it annoys them, but that's okay, because I know they're hearing me, is, okay, you had a bad day yesterday, or you're having a bad morning. Find 2 things that are good. Whether, even if it's a butterfly flying by you with really cool colors, notice that and stop and think, okay, think about something that you're thankful for. And again, as teens, and even as someone that's really in, having a hard time in life, that's not always easy. But if you just take that one little step to kind of think, okay, like, if you're having a negative thought, think how you can actually switch that to make it a positive thought. And those are the words, power of words.
Yes, it is. We under Thalē Blanc, we do have a project called the Happy Project. And the Happy Project is so important because we tend to think material things. So, you got a new car, you got a new watch, or you got a new toy, and that's what makes you happy. But it's really the people around you that we have to be grateful for. And you can talk to, I've had 3 teens at one point. I've got 2 of them that are past teens right now. But it's so important to appreciate, whether it's your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad, and think about it every day. And you can tell teenagers this and they'll go, yes, 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 we know. Or, they've already been told everything they need to know. But the T-shirt we did for the Happy Project says, I have a reason to be happy, and the reason is you. And every one of us has a reason to be happy for whatever. The great cereal that's on the table, oh my gosh, it's a great day, the sun's out. It's the little things. And we as adults have to remind ourselves sometimes when we're really down. And, when I'm down, I want to say, gosh, this is an awful moment, but I have so many other things that are good. There's the one thing that I really wanted that didn't happen for me, and never mind. I need to move on from it, because there's a lesson to be learned. There's always lessons to be learned.
And you know what I love that you just said there, because it's also important. Like, we're not saying just be rah, rah, rah all the time. Like, you have to be in your emotions. You have to sit in your feelings. It's really important to, if you are in a down mood, to accept that. Okay, I'm in a down mood. Or like, if you have a project that you really thought that last step was going to come through and it didn't, and you're like, what I do, which has really, really helped me, is I think, okay, that's not meant to happen right now. Right? It's not, there's a reason why it didn't happen, and I'm going to find out what that is. So I'm not going to dwell on it. I might be bummed at the moment, but I know that there's something around the corner, because it's just getting me to that next thing. So that's one thing I do, like, I think is really important, because with my, even with my teens, even when they were littler, like when they were angry, I would say, yell, scream, be angry. Like, you're allowed to have emotions. Emotions are important. You don't want to stuff your emotions, because then when we stuff them is like when, they come out somewhere else. So it's important to sit in your sadness. It's important to, to sit in your happiness, to praise all of it as much as it's uncomfortable. I think that's one thing that a lot of times people will think, oh, like when people talk about mental health, or they're like, oh, well, just think of something happy. And it's not that easy for someone that's really suffering from mental health. And so we're not saying that. It's fine to sit in it. But once it gets in the way of your life and it's day in and day out, that's
Yeah.
when you need to do something about it. That's when you either need to seek professional help or you need
Yeah.
to do something else, because that's not normal. You should not be doing that every day. We all have emotions. We all have things that have happened in our lives. Like everyone that knows, and I'm going to bring it, one of my boxers passed away very suddenly this summer, and I was devastated. I mean, it literally took the legs out of me. My whole morning routine that I did every day, I literally stopped it all. I could not. Every morning I woke up, I couldn't breathe. Like it was awful. And this happened in July, and I still am not completely right. Actually, I had a huge cry this morning because I was like, oh God, I miss him. Like, and that's okay. And we're going to have those ups and downs, but that's okay. But I can then go, because I've created a business, I've created networking where I can go and jump on a call and just be like, I'm not having the best day, but I need to keep moving forward. I can't sit too long in that moment. Yes, this morning I had a big cry. I felt better. I said, okay, I'm going to, tackle, because I also know that my boxer would not want me seeing me crying. He would want me to get on and do it. So, and, I'm just equivalent, I have, if you lost a person, it's the same sort of thing where I know I have a friend that, lost her husband, and she's like, I can't breathe half the time. I can't breathe. And I can't, and I know how I felt with my pup. And so it's those things that we need to acknowledge, but then we do need to. And so I love that you're bringing awareness to it, because that's what's important, the awareness.
Yes.
And the power of words does that. It brings awareness to people's emotions, people's feelings, people's mental health.
Yes. We try, the loss is something completely, different. You understand that that person's grieving and it's only going to take time, and there's nothing you can do to help them, and you can be there for them, and that is all. Another part of being low and being depressed is just when your body and mind and things go into that mode and you've got no reason really to be depressed. I think that is, that's the fine line. And you see it a lot with teenagers. You see it a lot with kids. Like, we think and look at them and say, why? What do you have? And that's the common thing that parents say. You go to the best schools, you have the best education, you travel, you have your friends, you have your family. But there's something we miss. Maybe it's, something at school. Maybe they're struggling with something that they don't want to talk about. So which is why one of the things we want to do is the Speak Out series, or that's, the direction we're going right now, is to encourage people to speak out to somebody, whoever it might be, your best friend, your parent. But on the flip side, whoever you're talking to needs to be the one with the empathy. So it's education both sides.
Yes.
It's teaching people to speak out, and it's teaching people, how do you handle someone speaking out to you? You treasure that. You don't talk about it. You help them. You be there for them, and you show them empathy. Feel what they feel and really listen to them with your heart. And if you listen and feel with your heart, you're going to help this person get out of it, because they shouldn't get in there. And I think it's so important for kids to either find a teacher or find a friend, and it's less friends, it's more, an adult you can trust to talk to. And I don't know how we can, as parents, break through to our kids sometimes. And I noticed over COVID, for my son especially, just him listening to the kids I was mentoring that was struggling and having their struggles is what got him through the hard time he was going through emotionally. So it's crazy. You don't know, just saying the right things to people and being genuine about it is what matters.
And I love that you said that, because it really is true for the other side.
Yes.
And I never really thought about it in those words until you said that. And it really is listening in an empathetic ear, but also sometimes not saying anything, right? Just being the person that's listening and the person that says, I'm here for you if you need to express it. Because don't we always feel, once we talk about something or write it down, or you feel better a little bit, like it's an initial, like, okay, I feel a little bit better. So the fact that you said that is so important, because it's for that person that's also, your friend, someone's coming to you. You need to kind of drop everything that you're doing and be like, okay, I'm here listening. This is an important thing. But it's also important for the person to say, okay, I really need you. Like, this is not just a conversation. I really actually need you. And again, that's the power of words. That's a power of communication. And I talk about that all the time in my podcast. And just in life, it is so important to communicate, but to listen to each other, because it is, communication can be such a tricky thing, because you can hear someone, but are you really listening to them?
Listening. Yeah. Yes.
And that is, you know, and we're all busy, right? We all have our stuff. But if someone comes to you and they say, I really need you, it is important to be like, okay, I need to pause this, and I really need to, you know, to listen. So, you know, thank you everyone that's joined this awesome conversation. I'm so honored and so happy to be in touch with Deb, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out with the
Yes,
power
she is.
words. I mean, oh,
Yes,
thanks.
Julie, it is completely awesome.
Thank you so much for your sweet words. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. But I mean, it really is the stuff. And it's one of those times where, again, when you guys, you know, think about when you run into someone and you talk to someone, and all of a sudden you realize what they're doing. I know there's a few people, I don't know if Colette's still in here, and I think there's a couple people that have popped in, that when I met Deb, it was like, oh my gosh, okay, I really want to get her in front of as many people as I know, because her vision and what she is doing with the Power of Words brand, it's so important on so many levels. And it's the power of words. And I know I keep saying that, but it really, I love how how did you come up with that word? Those words?
You know, when I decided I wasn't going to do just a fashion show and give back 20% to mental health, I figured I wanted to do something more important. And if you know me and by now know the brand, I won't just do a clothing line. I didn't need another clothing line. I needed a clothing line that was going to speak. And I thought about it. What is it that I can put out into the world and let people feel good? But it's got to be more than a one-way thing. You know, you pick up the phone and call a friend and say, I'm feeling great today. But if you're wearing resilient or wearing brave and you feel like you've accomplished something, people looking at you might give you a thumbs up. And I always want a reaction from the apparel I design, whatever it might be, whatever I create. I like to say it's a statement. And if you're not getting complimented on something I've created, then I haven't done my job. And so for this, it had to be more an emotional outreach. And I figured I'm going to put words on things, but do it fashionably, do it well. And I have I have clients for the last decade of my business, and I have some clients that won't wear something that has a big word on it, but I would put it discreetly on the inside. So you still feel good about what you're wearing, not only because it impacts you, but it also gives back. So, you know, you can be threefold or twofold with the power of words. And I wanted to express myself. And which is why I talk about it. And empathy is such a big part of this, because you're educating both sides. You're encouraging people to speak out, but then you're encouraging people to listen. And we all know we have to do that. But something that's a given, right? Someone's talking to you, drop everything and listen. But we need the reminder. I need a reminder sometimes. And sometimes kids complain about things and you don't realize what they're talking about is so important, but we're not paying attention because it seems so trivial. But that trivial thing might lead to situations that they can't get out of. So,
right.
You know, I think it's time for us to be compassionate, but be empathetic more than ever.
Right. And you know, it's so funny that you said that, because I actually wore your sweatshirt, and I love it. And it was in my stories. I'm going to post it again. But as I was leaving, my daughter said, "Oh, I love that." And I said, "This is what I've been telling you about. This is the power of words. This is that woman, Deb, I was telling you." And she kind of looked at me. She's 12. And she went, "Oh, well, I really like it." And I was like, "Thanks." And this is that whole, but it was so funny because I was telling her a couple days before. And I think when I got it, I was like, "Look at this." But she was busy. We were running somewhere. And it was just me literally walking by her, and for her to stop and be like, "Wait, what is that? I like that." And even my husband, as I left too, he's like, "That looks really," and I was like, and I said to him too, he goes, "I know, I heard you. I like the sweatshirt I told you before." But it was really cool. And even at the basketball game, I had a couple people say, "I love that." And of course, you know, I talk you up all the time. So, but I was like, you know, it is really, so you guys go, and I know Jen's been putting stuff in there. It's the power of words brand.com. And you guys, so Deb, tell them a little, I know I'm now like taking this over, but tell them a little bit about what they can find on the website.
Well, we launched the brand purely because I wanted to make a difference in the world of mental health, not just by giving back, but by also allowing people to express themselves. And then going to the next level, we have a big vision for what we want to do in the mental health space. Besides, there's tons of people raising money, but we want to make a difference and we want to touch people and impact how they feel. So we put out this brand, and the brand is expressive. The print has quotes in it. There is so many details to the brand, and Jen and I have been talking about doing like a little story, filming a story on every piece in the collection and what it means and where it comes from. Like we talked with Cynthia, she loves the straps on the skirts and the tops, and the straps are really saying, we've got you. You're secured, you're strong, and we all tend to float away every now and then. But as long as you have that one thing that's holding on to you, the person, the family, the mother, whoever it is that might be holding on to you, they're there and you feel secure. The print has quotes that run alongside the print. So we've done a lot of really interesting things, and the website shows you what we do. The Instagram talks a little more. We will have a lot of our conversations on our Instagram as well. So I'm excited for this to roll out. We've got a ton of influencers that are posting the product now and talking about mental health. And we had an influencer recently really brought tears to my eyes. She did such a beautiful post and talked about when she received the package and the words. And it's all about the words. That's where we're trying to make a difference, is with our words.
Yeah. So guys, go over and definitely follow The Power of Words. You guys can find it right here on Instagram, because again, I know Deb said that she's got a big vision, and let me just tell you that big vision is going to come to fruition. And I know that deep down in my heart when she said it, Cynthia. So you guys know my YNS Live with NFL Thread is where we interview the NFL spouses. That's the segment I started after I interviewed Cynthia. We met Deb at an event. So we actually had Deb on because it was really a wrap up of the NFL segment. And now we're going to have Deb together, Cynthia and I. Cynthia is going to be a special guest on your next stop, which is really kind of fun. Yeah. And we're going to really dive into Deb's story. But the thing is, it was so funny after Cynthia and I both got off the phone and we speaking to Deb about this big vision. Cynthia was like, it's going to happen. Like, I know of like 5 people that I can put her in touch with that I know can help. She's like, but this is going to be big. She's like, I can just see it. I believe in this. And for anyone that knows Cynthia Zordich on here, like she doesn't say those things. She doesn't just throw words around. When she says words, she means it. So it is definitely, you guys want to go and really follow and get involved. Go look at the website, talk to people. You might be listening right now and thinking, oh, this doesn't pertain to me. Mental health pertains to everyone. Just because you're not suffering from mental health yourself, you don't know who is. And it could be someone in your family, but it also could be a neighbor. That's why it's so important to talk to people, ask questions, just don't run through life.
True. And, I'm going to say this, it doesn't really matter. And not doesn't matter, but it doesn't relate to everybody. But when parents, and especially through COVID, parents have had, when you have something that's not perfect at home and your kids are in the environment, you have to be so careful to express to them about what you're going through and get them involved rather than have them drift away and go look for consolation somewhere else with people that might seem like they're good people, but you never know. Kids are vulnerable when they are not happy, and and everyone has their differences and conflicts at home. I think protect your kids, which is what I like to say, and I think it's really important to put out there, because they don't talk about how they're feeling. They don't want, kids don't like to hear arguments. They don't like to, it's a completely different topic, and I'm going on in a different direction right now, but I think it's a very important conversation as well.
No, it is. And, a lot of times, because I check in with my kids all the time. I'm a huge communicator.
Yeah, of course.
But I have to say, there's times that I know my kids are not telling me things because they don't want to get into it with me, because they know I'm going to get into a huge conversation. So I have promised them, I'm like, listen, if you just say to me sometimes, Mom, I just need to express this, please do not say anything. And I say to them, I'm like, you know how hard that's going to be for me. However, I will do my best because I am me. I can't change who I am, but I can really work on if that's what you need. I want to be there for you. So if you have something that you want to talk to me about, just state it. Like, I just need you to listen. I don't want your advice. Or, hey, I would like your advice in this situation. Or, I don't want your advice at all. I'm just stating a fact. And, you know, I have two teen sons and a teen daughter, and it is, or she's preteen, but she's going to be 13 in September. So we're right there. But it is really important. And that's where the whole communication comes up, because it is really important to talk about it and know how your kids want. As I said, there's times where I'm like, oh, I say to my husband, I know that something's going on, but I know they're not telling me because I know they think I'm going to annoy them. And I need you to go and ask them, right? I need you to say, hey, is everything all right? You know, and half of the time it's like, yeah, I just, you know, I'm tired, or I had a bad day, or, you know, anytime they will, there's times where my kids will get in the car and they'll seem down. I'll be like, did something happen at school? And they, especially my daughter, she'll be like, not everything has to happen. I can just be in a bad mood sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. She's like, gosh, you always have to, there always has to be a reason. And I'm like, I don't mean for it. I'm just trying to be the best mom that I can. Yeah. And so we have to also think about that, you know, and that's a work in progress. You know, I don't know about that. Yeah.
I'm learning every day. You know, my kids are older. My youngest is 15, and I'm still learning every day. And yes, they always think that, you know, when they're up and down, that we think that there's got to be a reason. And I think it's just letting them know that you're being attentive, and they have to be thankful that you notice that. There are, you know, some people might not notice it at all. So just be thankful that Mom noticed that, and, you know.
Yes, no, I know. Yeah. And Life and Style in Atlanta said mental health may not impact you today, but it may tomorrow. Awareness is key. And I love that. Yeah. I love that. And then
thank you for that.
Absolutely. So true. And Cynthia will make it happen. You're right. I know. She's amazing. I mean, this is what, again, you know, I talk to people. If you feel like you're in life and you're just a little unsettled, you're not like excited to get out of bed. Now, you don't have to be excited to get out of bed every day. Like, you know, today was Monday and I wish I could have slept, but I knew I had this IG, so I knew I was excited. If you are not feeling that, you are not, again, in the path that you're meant to be. And this is where I say all the time, go out and find that spot where you can daydream, where you can dream about the life that you want, or the business that you want, or the career that you want, or something that you want. If you go out and daydream it, and kind of start putting it into action, and then writing it down or voice texting it into notes, and then just kind of being aware of what's around you as you keep bringing those ideas and thoughts into your mind, you're going to get more excited about living, and you're going to get more excited about what could happen with this dream that you're creating. And as much as it sounds very unicorn, it really isn't. It really isn't. No. I mean, Deb, what do you think about that?
You know, it's manifesting. And the whole point, and why people say manifest, people used to say that, and you think about it and figure, you know, you manifest things, you can dream things, and it's just talk. No, it's not. Because if you think about it, when you manifest something and you know that's where you want to go and that's where you want to be, and it's impossible, think about it, because that positivity you're putting out there, if you're with people, they feel it, they feel your energy, they feel where you want to go, and you never know. I mean, strangers can make that difference in your life, but because you've got that in your heart and in your mind and you're feeling it, it's not happening yet, but it will. So be positive about it, because when you think positive, you put out the positive energy. And I think when people say manifest something, it's really telling you to put out something, or put out positivity, put out what you want, put out how you're feeling, and you know, it will come to fruition, because you're walking in that direction, you're thinking in that direction, you're looking in that direction. You will see the right people, meet the right people, talk to the right people. I'm beginning to believe that more and more and more, and that's I believe our relationship came to be from that manifesting, wanting to do what I wanted to do with the power of words.
No, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. So that's what I want everyone that's listening to this recording. I want you to go do that. Find that space that you daydream. and think about what you want, and then write it down and start seeing what happens. But you have to do it over and over and over again. It can't just be something that you do, once a month or once a year, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about it. Talk about
Yes.
what you want. Talk to people. Talk to, and also I think when we've gotten so into this tech life and we're always on our phones, put away your phone and look at someone in the eyes and tell them they look great, or, whatever, start up a conversation with people. We're missing out on that. And so we do much less because we're missing out on that social interaction with people because we're so into our emails and our text messages. And
Yep.
I just say, pick up the phone and call someone. And when you're outside, just put away your phone.
No, it's so true. It's so true. Oh my gosh, I love this. Well, we're going to do this again, and I feel like we should do this like at least once a month, just to kind of
I would
check
love
in. That. Yes, check in, see where you are, see where I am, because that's the fun thing about this. Like we don't know where everything's going. I mean, every interview that I have on Your Next Stop, something can come out of it, and that's what's really cool. Or YNS Live. And if you're in my network, if you've been on the podcast, there's been many times where I'm like, hey, you need to talk to this person, or hey, you need to talk to this person. I think there's some synergy there. So that is one of the favorite things that I love. So thank you, and you're such a beautiful soul. Safe flight tonight, and I'll be in
and
touch.
You never know. Yes, and thank you for doing such great podcasts on Fireside. It's amazing. The people you have on there are amazing.
Thank you.
You've got a great energy, Juliet, and thank you for being in my life.
Yes, I agree.
I
agree. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. We'll see you later. Don't forget to go follow Deb.
Thank you.
Bye. You have a good one. Okay, so now when I end this, what do I? Because I don't want to.
I think hit the live button and then go off, or just hit the cross. If you want to save it, it will.
I want to save
you.
it. Okay,
good. It will ask you, and I think Jen, if she's on, she will save it too.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys.
So
thank you, everyone. It's so good to see you.
Bye now.
Bye.